Ever since I've gotten into movies, the one thing people could not stop blabbering about is that one of the best animated movies of all time is Spirited Away. And I guess they have a point. It's almost #1 on everybody's Letterboxd list, and the ratings are extremely high. But it wasn't until I took an anime class at my university where one of the assignments was that I had to watch Spirited Away. So at this point, I finally had a reason to watch this movie and enter this Candyland to see what all the hoopla is about. And I have to say, this movie lives up to the hype with one minor setback. But if you don't know, Spirited Away is a Studio Ghibli film that follows a young girl named Chihiro who gets lost in a world of spirits, monsters, witches, and goobers. And she got stuck here while she was trying to move into her new home with her parents. However, what's scary is that her parents turned into greedy pigs. And it's Chihiro's mission to try to free herself and her parents from the spirit world. Now, honestly, it's hard to begin what I want to start with because everything, literally everything about this film is perfect. It is genuinely and truly cinema at its peak. It is the magnum opus of storytelling. This movie is so good, it could give Daredevil his vision back because this needs to be seen. Like 1 hour into this movie, it showcased so many different genres of film, from coming of age, drama, adventure, comedy, and romance. And Hayao Miyazaki, who is the director of this piece of diamond, merged them all seamlessly. And the animation here is incredible as well for its time, because this movie came out in 2001 and it does rival some current day anime animation styles. And the reason why is because what you're seeing is like the definition of magical. It just looks more magical than having white teeth. It looks awesome. The voice acting as well is great in here, and on top of that, the music is incredible. It's like this movie cleaned out all my earwax and macaroni in my ears and allowed itself to make room for the symphony that is the music in Spirited Away. But the highlight of this movie is the story. This movie takes you on an awesome adventure, and on top of that, you go on this adventure with an incredible character like Chihiro. So let me delve into the story really quickly, because from the very beginning of this movie, everything is delivered super simply. You got the family, you know what their motivations are, and then you get introduced to Chihiro, who you can easily relate to because she's just this little weasel who's sheltered and secluded. Granted, yes, the kid is 10 years old. She's not trying to find the cure to cringe or something, but when you're 10, you either want to explore the world or do nothing and stay alone. There's no middle ground, and clearly Chihiro wanted to do nothing with anything. But when her parents turned into dream fans, she enters this Legoland that is the spirit world, and she's thrown into the deep end and is forced to grow and learn to save her parents. And that character arc is so well executed. Additionally, there are a lot of side missions in this movie that Chihiro has to take on, and normally I'm not the biggest fan of side missions in films. I'd rather have the story just be as linear as possible. For example, The Marvels is a cum dumpster that suffers from useless side missions, which goes to show that this story could be told in like 30 minutes, but you can't do that, so you need to fill this tank of tartar sauce up with some useless stories. But in Spirited Away, everything has a purpose. Every single moment serves a larger and larger role in the story. Now granted, I wouldn't say I like this film as much as others, because one reason I feel like that's the case is because I didn't grow up with this film, and also I didn't watch this in a theater, so that plays a big role. But the second reason that I felt like this movie could have been shorter, like 10 minutes could have been chipped away, because the second act was a little bit sluggish, and dare I say, I was on my phone for a few minutes while watching the movie, so my little pupil dupils were not dilated towards the film. But look, that doesn't mean that this movie is not the best in its field, and it deserves all the praise and love it is getting, because it is going to be hard to find an animated movie that beats this one. 4.5 stars.